Hello and welcome to this session in which we will keep discussing subsequent events. What are subsequent events? Subsequent event is the period between the balance sheet date and the issuance of the financial statement. Assuming a calendar year company, January 1st till December 31st, the interim testing happens during that period, from January 1st till December 31st. Then the financial statements are dated December 31st. This is the effective date of the financial statements. Are the financial statements issued at that date? No, they're issued later, maybe 45 days, maybe 60 days. During that period between the year-end financial statement date and the statements are issued called subsequent event period. And this is what we've been working on. In this period, we looked at collecting information about disclosure and presentation, contingent liabilities, including the client's attorney letters, reviewing subsequent event, including dual dating, accumulating evidence and performing final analytical procedures. In this session, we will focus on going concern. So during the subsequent period, we would look at few topics. We're done with analytical procedures. In this session, we'll focus on evaluating the going concern. In the next session, we would look at the management representation letter. Then we will consider supplementary and other information in one recording. Now, keep in mind these steps perform after testing is complete. We're done with the field work and all the proposed adjustments are made. In other words, we are working with final numbers. Now we can make a judgment. We can make a judgment using figures, analytical procedures. Then we have a better judgment judging the going concern assumption for a company. So now keep in mind, we're going to go back and revisit analytical procedures as we are discussing the going concern assumption. Let's go ahead and dive deeper into the going concern. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, FarhatLectures.com. Most students and CPA candidates struggle not because audit is too hard, but because it's taught fast and the logic behind the procedure isn't explained clearly. Then everything feels disconnected. At Farhat Lectures, we break audit down step by step. We explain the why behind the standards, the logic behind the assertions, risks, procedures, evidence, so the whole process finally clicks. When the concepts connect, audit becomes clear and manageable. You stop memorizing and start understanding. Ready for auditing to make sense? Start your free trial at farhatlectures.com. So as a company, we have to evaluate, assess the going concern of the company. What does that mean? It means we have to determine whether the company will survive financially in the next 12 months. Will the entity remain in business, meets its obligation, and continue operating for 12 months after the balance sheet date? Now, most of the time, that decision is easy. Most companies should not be a going concern. But if we suspect a company is a going concern, then we have to do something about it. We might have to disclose it. We might have to modify the opinion of the report. We will see. Now, how do we determine this? We're going to see what do we look at to determine, what red flags we look at to determine whether the company is a going concern. It means it may not survive. So the auditors are required to assess whether there is a substantial doubt for the company's ability to continue as a going concern. Now, keep in mind, when we first take on the audit, we assess the company, because do you really want to associate yourself with a company that's going out of business? So this assessment is made at the beginning, during planning, but at the end, you will go back and reevaluate, because at the end, you are working with, you guessed it, the final figures, the final numbers. You know all about the adjustments. Those are the final figures. You are ready to make a judgment about going concern for this company. And here we have to revisit the analytical procedures that we looked at earlier. What are the analytical procedures? They will help us. The same ratios and trend use analytical procedures also would help us to form an opinion about the going concern. They would give us evidence. Liquidity ratios. Can the company pay off its short-term debt? The profitability ratios. Are they profitable? Are they generating profit from sales, gross margin? How about their operating margin? Is there enough gross margin to cover the operating expenses? How about return on equity?
How about their leverage and coverage ratio? Can they survive? Can they pay off their debt? How's their debt to equity ratio? What's their interest coverage? All these terms you should be familiar with from the analytical procedures, but we would look at them here from the lens of, can the company survive assuming all these ratios are deteriorating? We would also look at, you guessed it, the king, the cash flow pattern, especially cash flow from operation. Now, if we see deteriorating trends, what does that mean? It means we have some financial stress. If we have some financial stress, it could be a going concern. So the key steps in evaluating the going concern is to identify signs of financial difficulties. What could be signs of financial difficulties? Reoccurring losses. The company generating losses quarter after quarter, year after year. Negative operating cash flow. They're operating the business and they are incurring negative cash flow. It means every time they're in business, they are losing money. Loan covenant violation. They cannot pay off their debt. They're in violation. It could be their current ratios are not in line with the loan agreement. Something might put pressure on them on their cash flow. If they are in violation, it means the bank might ask them for the money. They may not have the money. There's a risk. And sometimes you could go out of business because you can't pay off your debt. If they have overdue payable or taxes, especially payable, usually you don't have to worry about income taxes if you're making no profit. But payables, can you pay off your suppliers? That's the first sign that you're going under. Because once you start to push your supplier down the road, and once you see that, you would see that their suppliers, their accounts payable is accumulating. That's a bad sign. Why? It could be that you could have more leverage against your supplier and forcing them to wait longer. That could be the case. Like Walmart. Walmart can force their supplier to wait longer and longer. Or it could be, guess what? You don't have money to pay them, and as a result, you are in financial trouble. So what do you do if you see these, identify those negative signs, reoccurring losses? Guess what? What are you going to do first? Talk to management. Look, to see what's going on. Why can't you pay your bills? It looks like your debt might be cold. You would ask them, can you refinance your debt? Can you restructure your debt? And they will tell you whether they might be already, the company know what's going on. They might be already in negotiation with a lender. You would ask them, can you show me? Can you just give me some assurance that yes, you're going to be in good shape in terms of financing? Are you going to issue new stocks or obtain new investors? Are you looking into that? Because you might need the cash because you're operating at a negative cash flow. Now, just operating negative cash flow doesn't mean you're out of business. A company like Amazon had a negative cash flow for years, almost a decade. Same thing with Tesla. As long as you can bring money from investors, you'll be in good shape. But are you doing so? Why would investors give you money if you have negative cash flow? Because they believe in the future. If you survive several more years, you will be in good shape. And that's what happened to Amazon. That's what happened to Tesla. Are you going to cut costs to become profitable or reduce your losses? Are you going to close any unprofitable lines? This is what you will discuss with management. They have to tell you, do you have a restructuring operation? Do you have a restructuring plan? Are you going to sell any non-essential assets that you don't need? Maybe investments, maybe property, plant, and equipment, maybe an old warehouse. Why? Because any of those could start to give you more time to solve these negative signs of financial financial difficulties. What do you do then after you discuss it with them? You evaluate them. You don't take it at face value. You assess the feasibility of these plans. For example, they told you we're refinancing. Show me. Can you show me with an agreement, or is it just right now you're just negotiating, or do you have something in writing? Do you have a signature down? You would look at their cost-cutting measures. Are they realistic? Do they have them in a budget, or just telling you to kind of to push you away from investigating any further? Show me in the budget if you are cutting cost. It's on and timeliness. Are you cutting cost on a timely basis? Are potential asset sales credible? Are you looking? Did you put them on sale? Are you talking to someone helping you sell them? Are they supported by appraisals or offers? Or are you just saying, I'm going to sell them, and you're not doing anything about it? Because action speaks louder than, you guessed it, words. Then you decide whether substantial doubt remain after considering management plan. You don't just say, they will tell you and you would accept, you would evaluate. You would say, yes, it looks like they're negotiating with a lender it's a legitimate lender, the lender can provide them the funds, then they might be in good shape. They might survive. Not in good shape, they might survive. There's no going concern. So what could be some going concern examples? Again, you could see this in a multiple choice in a simulation. Loan default and credit tightening. A retail store missed several loan payments. That's a problem. And refuse to extend additional credit. The bank says, guess what? I'm not going to give you any more money. Why? Because you missed it. And if that's the case, you could be in trouble. You might be declaring default, and if you cannot pay it, the bank might put you out of business, the lender might put you out of business. So management they could claim that we are refinancing with a different lender. Okay, great. Show me. Request documentation of the negotiation with the alternative lender. Look at the lender themselves. Hopefully they're not related parties, right? Look at the lender. See if they are capable of lending them the amount of the money that they need to survive. Assess whether the company's financial condition would actually attract new lenders. Also, even if you're negotiating with a lender, you could be negotiating with a lender, you could be negotiating with loan sharks or the mafia, right? That's different. You want to look at their financial condition and determine whether a lender would agree to give them money under, normal circumstances. Consider whether the timing of any new financing is realistic. They may need the money in the next 3 months or the next 45 days. Now, if evidence is weak, if there's no evidence of that, substantial doubt might remain. You would say you might be out of business soon, so I have to give you a going concern, at least declare that in the report. Example 2 could be a loss of a major customer. For example, a technology company might lose one customer that generated 35% of their annual revenue. Well, you'd ask them, do you have any plans to replace this customer? They would say, yes, we have a plan within 12 to 15 months. Well, if there's no new large customer signing any contract, the company might experience negative cash flow. You must assess whether this plan is realistic. If not, the company may be at risk of failure. When you lose 35% of your annual revenue from one customer, what happens if another customer leaves and that customer represents only 15%? Now 50% of your revenue is gone. 50% of the company's ability to generate revenue is gone. That's why it's very risky when you are relying on one customer that's generating 35% of your revenue. Could be if the company is selling productive assets that you are using to produce revenue to pay debt. That's another bad sign. For example, a manufacturing company sold several pieces of machinery that they are using and is considering selling one of its main plants solely to repay overdue loans. That's a red flag. This reduces long-term productivity. If you sell your assets to pay off the loan, how are you going to produce your product, to sell it to generate revenue? So the company may not be able to generate enough future revenue to survive. Even if selling the asset is a temporary fix, their liquidity could worsen down the road. So you have to take that into account. Again, handling doubts about going concern is not an easy thing. The auditor would love not to deal with it altogether. So if substantial doubt remain after evaluating the management plan, now the auditor still may issue an unqualified or unmodified opinion, but they might add a separate paragraph. And we talked about this in the report. They might add a separate paragraph, a going concern or emphasis of a matter describing the conditions and management plan. If the disclosure is inadequate, the auditor might need a qualified or an adverse opinion, depending what the situation is. Once again, this is not an easy judgment, especially when you're dealing with a publicly traded company, because any bad news about a going concern, the stock would plummet. So a going concern paragraph can cause stock prices to drop. Investors, they just sell their stocks. I don't want to wait, see what's going to happen. I will need to get out now. And creditor and suppliers, it's like a negative feed loop. They will reduce their support. They will start to sell you less. If they sell you less of ingredient, raw material, then you can sell less because you cannot produce them. Therefore, the auditor must be very careful to balance protecting users with avoiding unnecessary harm. So going concern is a serious, serious issue. And auditors would love not to deal with it because you are making a major judgment. Sometimes it's the kiss of death for some companies. Let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. A retail company experienced significant operating losses in the current year and has reoccurring negative cash flows. That's not good. Management has prepared cash flow forecasts showing improvement only if new financing arrangement is finalized. We're going to be good cash flow. We're going into this financing agreement. As of the audit report date, financing negotiations are incomplete. What should the auditor do? Now, here what we're looking at, we're looking at a going concern situation. If you want AI to explain what's given in the problem, you could ask AI to explain the topic if need be. If not, start to answer the question. Would the auditor issue an unmodified opinion with no additional paragraph? What is unmodified or unqualified opinion? It means everything is good. And we know from this situation that that's not the case. They really need this new financing. So A is an easy elimination because unmodified opinion means it's a clean opinion, and that's not the case here. So that's easy, should be an easy elimination as long as you understand unmodified is a clean opinion, the best opinion, and you can't do that here because might be a going concern issue. So A is out. B, withdraw from the engagement. No, you don't withdraw immediately. You have other options, so let's wait to see what's going to happen, but you don't withdraw. That's an extreme. B is out. C, include an emphasis of a matter paragraph highlighting the substantial doubt about going concern. Is that a reasonable thing? Yes, you would say they're incurring losses and recurring negative cash flow. For now, they are negotiating with a lender. It's not final, it's not complete, but I want to let you know about this. I would say between A, B, and C, I would keep C. Issue an adverse opinion, that's too extreme as well. Going concern usually does not require an adverse opinion. Again, adverse opinion is if you have a problem with your accounting, not a going concern. What should you do now? Whether you are an accounting student, a CPA exam candidate, you want to invest in yourself. Go to Farhat Lectures, look at additional lectures, podcast lessons. Look at the AI assistant, how it can help you learn the material better. Video simulations, video multiple choice questions. Investing in yourself is the best investment you can make. God bless and stay safe.